Hadn't done nothing wrong. I was just trying to protect myself.
An Owensboro police officer out of surgery tonight. The man who shot him talking only to 14 News. That shooting happened early this morning, a few blocks from the Ohio River. Kentucky State Police tell us a man mistook the officer as a suspicious person. And we've been keeping you updated on this story all day. Let's get right to Randy Moore, who's heading up our live team coverage. Randy.
Yeah, Jackie, we're going to get to what can only be described as a fascinating interview in a moment with a man who shot a police officer this morning. But first, let's talk about that police officer and recap for you what exactly happened behind me early this morning. 23-year-old Zachary Morris grew up in Greenville in a family of law enforcement people. He's been with the Owensboro Police Department just 2 years, and tonight he is really lucky to be alive. It all happened just behind that privacy fence right behind me between the house and that camper. Here's what Kentucky State Police say. They say that Morris responded to a call of a suspicious person around 5:30 this morning. Once he arrived, someone matching the description took off. Morris chased him but lost him behind the houses. Now, Morris then started checking around that fenced-in area. At that point, the homeowner came outside with a pistol and shot Morris, striking him partially in his bulletproof vest and partially in the abdomen.
He was injured, even though he had a vest on. It doesn't guarantee you walk away from it. And in this case, it hit, fragmented, and it did enter his body.
Now, Morris is in good condition after emergency surgery at Owensboro Health, and the Kentucky State Police say that he did discharge his weapon. They're not saying the order of the shots fired, who shot first. And as for the man, David Turley, 63 years old, the man who shot who fired the shot at the police officer, he was questioned and released. No charges filed at this time. Right after he was released, he talked to our own Katie Capusta. Katie, what did he have to say?
Yeah, Randy, David Turley told me he did what anyone would have done in that situation. He also tells me he wished it never happened, and he recounted what exactly happened up to that close call. It happened right here on David Turley's fence line.
I hear a commotion over in the very corner of the fence. So I see somebody standing there with a flashlight pointing it down at the ground like that. So I walk over to see what's going on.
He lives in this trailer in the backyard of his son's house.
As I get closer, pow, pow. And when he did, I had my weapon by my side, and I just pulled up and fired and started towards the ground trying to take cover. Police, drop your weapon now. Never heard nothing like that. Once they shot 2 times in my face, I had no choice. I was in fear of my life, and I returned fire. I could hear the sing of the bullet as it went by.
Turley said the man who turned out to be an officer shot at him twice and he returned fire 4 times. He had no idea anyone had been hit until more police units arrived.
I know I hadn't done nothing wrong. I was just trying to protect myself.
Officers took him in for questioning but released him this afternoon.
I'm sorry that I did what I had to do.
And Turley tells me he's very concerned about the officer.
I'm still worried about the officer's condition because I know that was not a good situation.
But he says he knew he did what he had to do to protect himself and his family.
I got 5 grandkids in this house. I'll lay my life down for every one of them.
No, nobody was responding when we were saying, who is it?
You all did ask, who is it?
Several times, both of us. And there was no response.
You know, the police say that they said several times, it's the police.
If they knock on the door and say who it was, we can hear them. It's dead silent. I know 1,000,000% sure that nobody identified themselves.
So the next thing you hear, the door flies off the hinges. Are you feeling afraid?
Definitely afraid. But I don't have much room to be afraid because I got somebody here that I got to take care of.
So you hear the heavy knocking, and what do you do?
So now at that point, we're getting up to put on clothes, make ourselves decent to answer the door. Then I grab my gun.
We should also say you were licensed to carry the gun.
For sure. That was the one time I had to use it. I mean, if it was the police at the door and they just said we're the police, me or Brianna didn't have a reason at all not to open the door and see what they wanted.
So the doors fly off the hinges.
I let off one shot, and you know, I'm figuring if somebody's trying to break in or something, they're not gonna want to do anything after that.
And after that, what happens?
You know, I don't think I ever heard so many gunshots like all at the same time. I've never been to war, but I assume that's what war probably sounds like.
One officer fired 6 shots, Officer Mattingly. Officer Cosgrove fired 16 shots. Officer Hankinson fired 10 shots. That is a lot of firepower.
I still try to make sense of it to this day. There's definitely nowhere to hide. There's bullets coming in every direction.
When did you realize that Breonna had been shot?
I guess in the middle of all the gunfire, like she screamed, but like I was holding her hand.
You were holding her hand?
Yeah, like while this was happening, I pulled her down to the ground. But you know, she was just scared, so she just didn't get down.
So in the middle of all of this, you realize that she's been hit. Was she alive at the time?
She was still, and when all the gunfire stopped, she was like bleeding and stuff, and I was holding her. You know, then that's when I called my mom.
You called your mom first?
Yeah, I told her that somebody just kicked in the door and shot Breonna, and she's freaking out at this point, but she told me to call 911, so I did.
911, Operator Harris, where is your emergency?
I don't know what's happening. Somebody kicked in the door and shot my girlfriend.
While you're on the phone, you don't know it's the police.
I didn't know it was the police, not at all, and I even proceeded to tell 911 that, you know, somebody just kicked in the door and shot my girlfriend. You know, if I knew who it was, I would have said the police, or I wouldn't have been calling the police on the police. Like, that doesn't even make sense.
Where was she shot at?
I don't know. She's on the ground right now. I don't know.
Is she alert and able to talk to you?
No, she's not. Breathe. God.
In the midst of me talking to 911, I'm like, well, Breonna's mama should know about this too. I hung up on them and I called her mama.
The police didn't come rushing in?
Not at all. I don't think I realized that it was the police until I was on the phone with Breonna's mom. I hear like people outside talking. I thought they was, you know, coming for help because I called 911.
So you think they're coming to help you?
Yes. So when I come outside, there's guns pointed at me. You know, I'm being threatened with dogs and whatever else.
Don't look back. Put your hands on your head. You want to prison? That's what's going on.
The officer asked me, was I hit by any bullets? I said no. He said, that's unfortunate. So that threw me off too. So I'm like, what's he mean by that?
That's unfortunate, he said to you after you've just lost your girlfriend and you don't know what is happening. What did you think when he said that?
I didn't know what to think, and I really wasn't worried about me. Only reason I'm even out here is because the only way for her to get help in there is for me to be out here.
We were scared. No, we didn't know who it was. We didn't even know who it was.
And I was in the back of the car. I don't know. I got drugged all the way down the street. It was cold. It was wet. I didn't want any socks and shoes on gravel, rocks, and everything. And they was just dragging me like I had scabs and stuff on my feet from that.
When they take you to the police station, still no socks and shoes?
Still no socks and shoes. When we finally left the scene, we pulled over in like a random parking lot on Manslick, which is the street like at the bottom of the hill down the street from Breonna's apartment. And another officer in an unmarked car, and he wasn't in uniform and stuff, and he came to my window. But his tone was way different than everybody else's who was just on the scene.
How so? Different how?
He told me that this was a misunderstanding, and we're gonna get to the bottom of it, and asking me, did I need anything? Did I need water and this and that?
Hey, partner, can I get your name? Kenneth Walker. Matt, there was a little bit of miscommunication. I wanted to talk to you before they left.
And then when I got to the police headquarters or whatever it was, they took the handcuffs off me and everything. I was walking around. I went to the bathroom.
Go ahead. When you get in there, you can take the handcuffs off.
So clearly y'all know something's wrong. Because you don't...
You're allowed to move freely.
Yeah, you don't allegedly shoot a police officer and they take the handcuffs off you.
Were you surprised to hear that you were accused of shooting a police officer?
I definitely was surprised. But I was more concerned about, is he okay and is Breonna okay? At this point, I still didn't even know if she was alive or not.
So when did officers tell you you were going to be charged with attempted murder? When did you hear that?
Maybe like 5 or 6 in the morning that same night.
What did you think?
I was worried about if Brianna was okay or not.
When were you finally told that Brianna didn't make it?
I never really got told, like, directly. I saw it on the news.
That's how you heard Breonna Taylor died, on the news?
Pretty much. And I was in the cell, and it was, like, on the news, and it said one, female dead. It confirmed it. I didn't know for sure what condition, she was in when I left. So I didn't know what they did, but as these body cam videos and stuff come out, I see they did nothing. Clearly, we see the SWAT team in there, and she was still in there. They're still, like, casing the apartment with her laying right there on the ground.
Apartment 4 is now a crime scene. Let's go ahead and move out. All right, she's done.
Disrespectful.
Don't look back. Put your hands on your head. That's what's going on.
Now a crime scene. Let's go ahead and move out. All right, she's done.
Disrespectful.